What's up, everybody? It's pkLeech here, and I'm back with some more Jimvitational content, this time in the upper bracket of round 4. And I'm bringing a set to y'all that I'm especially excited to narrate because it's between pkLeech and BIHI, and both of these guys actually not only have yet to drop a set, they have yet to drop a single game in this tourney. Both of them swept their respective games in the early rounds 2-0, and therefore whoever loses the first game in this set will actually have their first loss in the entire tourney. Okay, before we get into that, two more things. Please feel free to donate. If you donate, it incentivizes us to keep the tourneys coming, so if you enjoy the content, please consider donating. And secondly, I am back to streaming on twitch.tv/pkLeech. I stream hardcore Nuzlogs of Gen 4 games, so Renegade Platinum, Sterling Silver, stuff like One Death Equals Reset. If you're into that kind of content, I hope to see you there. And let's finally figure out who will have their first L in this tourney, yeah? Let's go. Okay, we got Tyranitar lead versus Jirachi lead. And this one's always a bit janky because either Jirachi is very, very defensive and doesn't do much with the Tyranitar, or it's just straight up mixed and threatens the Tyranitar with like hidden power fighting or dynamic punch. In this case, BIHI just body slams. And wow, Leech instantly DDs, threatens that Jirachi with an Earthquake Oko, and that's why BIHI goes into Salamence. That thing would still die to +1 Rock Slide though, so BIHI goes back into Jirachi as Leech gets parried, and it is completely revealed now that Jirachi is mixed, eats a hefty Earthquake, but delivers the killing blow on that Tyranitar with the second HP fighting. And I'm assuming we got some offense from Leech here because of that DD Tower, and that Hydro Pump leads me to believe even more that this is the case. And that's a lucky freeze, but BIHI thaws out immediately. And this Starmie has taken a tremendous amount of damage. BIHI probably with an offensive team of his own here because of the mix Rachi Celebi. I'm expecting like Skarmory. Never mind, it's Cloyster for the spikes. And it could also be a Swampert, Aerodactyl, something like that. Maybe Gengar. And yeah, Cloyster, not actually 2-hit KO'd by this mash, but the Sand might do it. Yep. Gets up a spike and chips the Metagross. And Leech with some Magneton offense. Starmie is very curious. Maybe the team is a little bit more defensive than I initially thought then. Yeah, recover. So it's you know, sort of like a Magdoll, but way more offensive with that off-star. And I assume Leech will be able to spin that spike away unless he just doesn't have it. Maybe he just wants to play with T-Bolt last on this Starmie and just accept having one spike on his side. And is also DD Mens, which makes sense together with the Magneton. But yeah, this is probably not the matchup that Leech wanted to see against a Cloyster offense with this sort of stuff. And this Mens could, I was about to say, just get parried by Body Slam, but Ice Punch will do the trick too. Mixed Rachi can definitely fit that, and it has Fire Punch as well. This Jirachi just Thanos snapped half of Leech's team. Don't tell me it gets the kill on Starmie with the parry. Yeah, no way. No shot. Is it a Mixed Rachi sweep? No, okay. Starmie holds on by 1 HP, but I think this one is probably over already. And Leech sees it the same way and forfeits. This Mixrachi did some work. Wow. I mean, this is why Mixrachi is also so threatening, especially as a lead, because you have to figure out what moves exactly it is running. So you have to kind of either stay in bravely and hope for the best, or you have to pivot a lot around, and then you just eat so much damage, and there's also so much potential for hacks. And yeah, be with a very, very commanding game 1 here. Let's see how game 2 plays out. Venusaur lead versus Zapdos. Okay, you're probably pretty happy about that unless it substitutes Zapdos. This Zapdos is slower than the Venus, so I assume it is defensive. And Venus just sends it to sleep again. I'm not sure about the damage ranges on both of these. Venu usually leads me to believe it's Sand Spike's offense with like Fortress or Skarmory, and Tyranitar makes sense as well. It is substitute Tyranitar. This could either just focus punch here or crunch or HP grass the Swampert. That is gonna be some nice chip on the Pert with a crunch. As Leech subs up on the Ice Beam, which does not break the sub, so BIHI Swampert is gonna take another crunch. That is massive damage on the Pert. I could definitely also see something like an Aerodactyl in the back, something that like Swampert chipped board Tyranitar. That is what we call the substitute set. It's just so good at that. Leech with the Razor Leaf. In ADV there really aren't that many good grass type attacks, so if you want to have HP Fire on Venusaur, you have to decide whether you want to use Razor Leaf, Giga Drain, or Magical Leaf maybe even. So yeah, some people do use Razor Leaf on this, also with that high crit chance. And this Swampert takes a nasty Toxic on the switch. Very, very well played by BIHI here. He has a what seems to be a pretty standard Fortress TSS with what I assume is a bulky Zapdos. And excellent switch into the Tyranitar Fire Blast. It misses, luckily for BIHI as well. And this Tyranitar, unless it crits this Pert, is gonna get taken out by Surfs. But not before, obviously, chunking it very, very much. Okay, I'm wondering at this point if Leech has spikes at all. It would make a lot of sense with Venusaur forcing all these switches with Leech Seed, but Leech hasn't tried to set up the spikes yet. And oh, I love Gyarados together with Fortress, by the way. I've been a fan of this combo ever since I've seen McMegan use it, because oh my god, it's HP Rock Gyarados, and it just snipes that Charizard. I have to explain here. This might seem like an unorthodox combo, but one of the main weaknesses of Fortress is that it is absolutely helpless versus anything that has fire attacks. So having a bulky water type on your team is, or at least something that deals with fire type attacks, is a necessity for any good Fortress team. So that's why I'm a fan of Gyarados on these as well. It brings some tempo on slower teams as well with DDs. And it can bait like Aerodactyl with that HP Rock. And it already did some great work. It can get wished up here as well by the Jirachi. And the damage that this Charizard has done is almost completely gone. So I'm wondering if Leech really has any tempo left to win this. It doesn't seem like it, especially since I kind of doubt at this point that he has spikes. By turn 28, he definitely should have tried to set those up sometime, even though there's a Fortress that probably has Rapid Spin. And this Venusaur is just so helpless versus the Jirachi as well. I mean, it can fish for crits here, but as the Jirachi gets a crit of its own, but that won't even take out the Jirachi here. It did do a lot of damage, but the Jirachi is gonna win this if it decides to just Fire Punch here. Okay, so Venu got some chip, but with Swampert being toxic, and I assume this thing doesn't have a refresh because it's Hydro, this looks so over for Leech unless his last is just a good win con into this. But even then, there's immense, but this is HP Rock Gyarados, so unless it crits this right here, I assume it's Mixments. It's actually DD, so maybe it could do it with a Rock Slide flinch here, but Leech decides to DD again. It's a very, very brave choice. Leech said in the chat, too late to cancel the click. And that's unfortunate if it was a misclick, but I can see him DDing here as well, perhaps to just try to go for a very risky play to close out an almost completely lost game, basically. Like when you're that far behind, sometimes you have to go for these kind of ballsy plays. And BIHI continues his 2-0 terror. This is his third set in a row that he has won 2-0. Wow. If you aren't convinced at this point that he's good, well, it's time to change up your mind. A respectable showing from Leech as well. I definitely enjoyed the set. I'm curious what the thought process behind this team is, though. Probably Venu to maybe chip down Skarmory to open up DD Mens, but it's spikeless. It's a very unorthodox build here. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and hope you have a nice day. See ya!